like you are basically like a natural debater and stuff. Well, I disagree with that. She's just gonna be like her sister. She's just going to do those humanities subjects. They have a lot of differences. It clashes, right? It caused into arguments, into debates, into like fights. When my dad told us that, hey, we might be moving to Doha, and at the time we were like, what is Doha? What is Qatar? It's a way of building each other and sort of molding each other into something despite the differences. You know, it's to accept each other, and I think that's a very good support system that we have.
Hi, my name is Sarah,
And my name is Mikayla Saeed.
and we're twins who are born in Indonesia, and we're here to talk to you about why we're here today and what makes us the way we are.
Alright, so I think we'll start from the very, very beginning. We were born in Indonesia in 2006 in a town in Java Island called Depok. So actually, a little bit after we were born, when we were 3 years old, we had to move back to where our dad was born, his hometown called Duri in West Sumatra. And I think the very thing about Duri is that there's different culture. The culture is very different to that in Depok. So we picked up the Minang accent, we picked up the dialect, and we also picked up the culture. But a little bit after that, we had to move back to Depok, and we could say that it was pretty much of a culture shock.
So, our family, we come from a very, very large family. So, despite us only being twins, we came from a very large family. We have more than 30 cousins, and I feel like this diversity in the cousins and knowing where they're all from really cultivated that culture for us. Speaking on a lot of different topics and a lot of different gatherings make us really confident on the different aspects of Indonesia. And when our family background is very different. So our mom is Sundanese, and my dad, as Mikayla mentioned before, is from Minang or has a Minang background. So there are differences in the culture, and we were raised in both. So it was very eye-opening for us. I think the time that we moved to Qatar was very difficult because I think we were around, 6 to 7 years old. We just moved back from Sumatra to Depok, and we just made really good friends. We had several best friends. We had a lot of passion. We played the piano. So not only did we have friends from school, we had friends from our extracurricular activities. And I remember that very, very same day when my dad told us that, hey, we might be moving to Doha. And at the time, we were like, what is Doha? What is Qatar? We didn't even know that, the Middle East existed because we were in this bubble of Indonesia. And, remembering my friends back then and how I felt, I was just like, oh, I had to leave my friends. I had to leave the only place I call home. And that was very heartbreaking. I remember that day. And I remember also promising my friends that I'm going to come back in 5 years. And I think it's a little bit well over 5 years. It's been 11 years since we've been here. But yeah, moving from Depok to Doha, it's a big change, not only socially but also culturally. Sorry, you want to expand on that? Moving from Sumatra to Java, it was a big culture shock for us from moving from Indonesia to Qatar. The people are different, people spoke different language, and something that's very surprising to a lot of people is the fact that when we first moved to Qatar, we had very, very little knowledge on English. We couldn't speak English very well. We were very versed in Bahasa. So it was a struggle to pick up on the lingo, I guess you can call it. And also, the people here acted very differently. So it was another culture shock. And for an 8-year-old, girls like me and Mikayla, it was very hard to adjust. All right, then I think we'll just start from when we moved here. So the curriculum, I would say, from Indonesia to the British curriculum, I think it was surprisingly very easy. We learned multiple division and multiplication when we were still in year 2 in primary back in Indonesia. And when we moved here, the curriculum was very, very easy. So it was easier for us to adjust to the British curriculum. So education-wise, I think we progressed very well. And that's why it's because it's way easier for us because the Indonesian curriculum, it's very tough. So we adjusted and we adapted well. And I think the biggest takeaway from the education system in Qatar is that I think it's very supportive in the way that if you're passionate about something, there's something for you. So right now in high school, I've been learning more humanities subjects because law is something that I want to pursue in university. So right now I'm doing A levels and I'm doing English literature, history, and math, and that all of those subjects fits into what I want to do for university. So that's what I really like about A levels, what I really like about the British curriculum, because it supports people's passion and what they want to do for university. Based on my career in debate and in public speaking, a lot of people might think that, oh, she's just going to be like her sister. She's just going to do those humanities subjects and possibly pursue a law degree or something to do with public speaking. But I was actually complete opposite, and I chose to pursue a degree in environmental science, and that's what I want to be pursuing in university, which is why I chose my subject, which is math, physics, and computer science. And one of the reasons why I chose this is because I truly believe that it's very important to develop a sort of communication skill in a degree where a lot of people get overshadowed a lot, because a lot of people have great innovation, great talent, and great skills, but they cannot deliver that and translate it well in terms of communication, which is why I really am truly really grateful for all the public speaking workshops that I've done and also debate skills that I've gathered, because it really blends well with the STEM subjects, because you don't get much of that. So yeah, I really am taking a lot of STEM subjects, which is quite opposite to Mikayla's. So I think that's what sets us apart as twins. Yeah. All right, so I think for me, other than that humanities subject, I'm also a very artistic person. I like to express myself in either music or just like simple doodles. I mean, I took art GCSE. I mean, it didn't end well, but it's definitely a passion for me to just take my mind off things. So other than art, I really like music. I mean, me and Sarah both really like music. We both play the piano, so we're classically trained. But other than that, I like listening to, a lot of people don't believe this, but rock music. Generally, like old school rock music is one of my favorite things. It's basically my therapy. Every time I have a hard day, I would just listen to different songs. And yeah, I think music is a big part of my like everyday life. I love music. I love listening to rock. So that's one thing I love. I think also the fact that me and Mikayla share the same and similar hobbies really develop us as, really good, having a really good bond and besides just in the academics. We play the piano together, so not alone. We play it at the same time as a duet. So that really builds that communication skills and a skill that and a bond that not a lot of people have, because it's truly something special to have. So music is one way we bond really well with each other through music. Not only playing the piano, we also started playing the guitar.
Oh, yeah.
And we also like to listen to the same things. We give each other music recommendations. We discover things very, very, fun things. So that's what we really like. I think a lot of things, but I feel like we have just so many like side things that we have. For example, we definitely have different different films like categories that we like. I'm more into like chick flicks and stuff like that, while Star is probably more into science fiction, maybe philosophy videos and stuff like that. I think what sets us apart is not the hobbies itself, but more about our interests and like how we think about the world in a way. Yeah, like Mikayla mentioned, we're into a lot of different artsy stuff, I guess. So Mikayla watches a lot of, I guess you can say like 2000s films, more laid back films, and she also likes music from that era. While I really, really like and prefer a lot of things that are more deep and sometimes even philosophical in films, like science fiction, even Star Wars. I really, really love Star Wars, and we both like Star Wars, but I can say that I like it even more. And all that kind of you can say nerdy stuff. So I think that's what really, really interests me. And we both have the same interest to a certain degree, but there's always something that really breaks it apart, Yeah. Yeah. I think because we had that good support system right in the first place, it's that we kind of just grow into like yeah, we like we like the same thing. We like movies, we like artsy, we like music and stuff like that. But in at the end of the day, we're very different people. Even though it doesn't show from our interests and hobbies, we're still like, you can even pretend that we're not siblings and you can see that we are very different in to a certain extent. So I feel like because we had that good support system in the first place, we're able to, how do you say this, like express yourself in a more individualistic way, because we, at the end of the day, we're very different people, and because of again that support system, we're able to build that confidence in expressing ourselves. So that's how I personally cope with that and with our differences and stuff like that. So yeah, I think with a lot of siblings, they may feel as though if they have a lot of differences, it clashes, right? It causes into arguments, into debates, into like fights. But for us, because we have that bond and we know that we're sort of a constant in each other's life, we have each other no matter what. When it comes to differences, it's actually more fun because we get to learn new things from each other instead of diminishing each other's, you know, shine or light or whatever it is they're interested in. Instead of, you know, diminishing the fact that Mikayla likes this and I prefer something else, I learn more about what she likes and perhaps that I may grow into liking the things that Mikayla like. So it's a way of building each other and sort of molding each other into something despite the differences. You know, it's to accept each other, and I think that's a very good support system that we have. I think that's a very, very good question. I think I've only started actually being able to communicate well around year six. Like, even now, people ask me, you're so extroverted, like, you are basically like a natural debater and stuff. Well, I disagree with that because I was not a natural speaker, I wasn't a natural extrovert. Even now, I still think that I'm more introverted. I'm still very shy to sometimes reach out to make new friends. Like sometimes I have social anxiety, which is, you know, a lot of people think, oh, you're just lying. You just want to make yourself more relatable. But I'll show you pictures and videos of myself when I was in year 4, in year 5, even in year 6, and you wouldn't believe how shy I was. I would still say that the reason why I, you know, start becoming more of myself, start showing more of myself and becoming less introverted is because I genuinely faked it. I faked being confident. I faked being able to, you know, communicate so well, because at the end of the day, you have to, you know, create this own like persona that you want to be and fake it till you make it. I feel like that's generally, because I can't find a pinpoint as to when the like flip happened. It just happened gradually. Even 2 years ago, I struggled with speaking a lot, but I think it's just the practice and the practice, and you know, you're slowly molded into that version that you want to be desperately so bad. Like, if you tell your 6 version of me that you're gonna be doing a lot of debates, you're gonna do a lot of Model UN, you're gonna host a debate workshop, I would laugh at you because that is so not me. I was a natural introvert, and yeah, just fake it till you make it and just practice and get out and just, yeah, practice. I think for me, one of my biggest motivation to becoming a good speaker and a debater was to see how other people who are good in that field are. So when we were practicing debate, we had this thing where we watch good debaters debate against each other. We see them and we sort of mimic how they are, their intonations, the way they carry themselves, the way they make hand gestures, the way they communicate themselves to you. And when you see a good example of what you can be, you strive and work towards that version and you make it a version of yourself. So don't diminish yourself too early. Don't stop yourself too early. Make sure that you can see the vision and what you want. And when you know your intentions, that's when you truly start becoming and being able to work towards it. So I think that's one of the ways that I personally developed myself into becoming more, I would say, extroverted, even though I would actually disagree. I am still quite an introvert. And yeah, basically having a good role model and someone that you look up to, that's one way to better yourself, to become a better speaker. I think even when we were introverted, right, we would still be very comfortable with our parents because I feel like my mom and my dad is very nice people in general, and we kind of have like a friendship with our parents, like, which is, we're so very lucky to have, because you know, sometimes some people are scared of their parents, and but I think us, we see them as a parent and also as a friend because they're very friendly. So even when we were not very good at debating and communicating, I think we had very good debates with our parents even back then. And I think actually a lot of people might think, oh, you're really good at debating, communicating. Are you fighting more with your parents or do you debate more with your parents? I feel like now, because I guess you could say we're better communicators, we start to understand our parents more and actually we start listening to our parents more. So back then, maybe it's also because of our age, we would be, like we would be like naughty kids basically. Even though we were shy little kids outside of our house, when we're with our parents, we're crazy. But now, since I think it's also because of us maturing over time and growing up and also becoming better communicator, we're also, I guess, better listener to our parents. So yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that although we've had some very interesting debates with our parents, because we have that mutual respect with our parents and we can communicate them with them well, it's also very good to understand that when you're debating, you're also very likely to see both sides. And that's one aspect of debate, basically communicating and seeing it from a different side. So when you're talking with your parents, especially learning that debating skills and communication skills, you will soon realize that, you know what, it's really good to just give them a shot, to really listen to what your parents are saying, and to not only uphold your ego, but to lower that and truly listen. Because I think that's when you become a good communicator, when you start listening. And listening to your parents is the first step on becoming a good
better
communicator.
communicator.
So I think that's what we learn a lot from debate. Yeah.
All right, so when it comes to role models and how these role models shaped me, I feel like I don't have one specific name in mind, but I feel like it's a collection of people that I aspire to be, and that, it's the little things that I take away from them that generally shapes me into who I am today, creating me into who I became today. So I think when I started debating, actually, there's, the program called World Scholars Cup, and the staff that works at this program are people who was just like us, people who joined the World Scholars Cup program in hopes to become a better debater, in hopes to become a better communicator. And I relate to that because at the time I was very shy, and when the staff at the World Scholars Cup program talked about how they were when they were smaller, how they were when they started the program, they were like just telling me exactly what I wanted to hear. They were like, "Oh, I was just like you, we're all shy kids, we're all introverts, we're all a little bit awkward, and you can make it." And I feel like that genuinely gave me like a big inspiration into why I wanted to become a better debater. I think I could name a few actually. So the people at World Scholars Cup program was like Chauncey and Daniel. These two people, they were just little kids who wanted to become better debaters, and they ended up working for the program that inspired a lot of these kids.
Yeah, much like Mikayla, when we joined the World Scholars Cup program, a lot of the people that I look up towards were the people who were debating on stage. They were some of the best debaters, and they keep saying, "Oh, we're very awkward, we're very nerdy, and we are introverted kids, but we aspire to become better debaters," and that really inspired me. But one person, in my opinion, in particular, was who I thought was a really great role model, was actually someone who was a senior when we were just year 7, starting to go to school in QIS, Qatar International School. Her name is Tian, and she was actually the mentor for me and Mikayla when we started the World Scholars Cup program. When we started debating, she was the one person you really wanted to be, both academically, in terms of public speaking, in terms of everything. She was that role model, and a lot of us still look up towards her. And I think personally, when I look back, I think that was the one person that I actually envisioned to be when I'm in her place, when I'm at her age, which is now. So I think that's really something that is a big deal for us and something that we really like to look back towards. So yeah.
I think as all humans and people are, I feel like I'm far, far, far from perfect. Like I think I think no one is perfect, but I think one thing that I've been noticing a lot, and I feel like I'm more aware on who I am as a person and my weaknesses as well, is the fact that when I see a lot of people, like a lot of my friends, they're so like ambitious into taking what they deserve. You know what I mean? So like I'll try to explain it because this is a bit hard. So, for example, if an opportunity stands up, I think a lot of people are good at taking things that they deserve. And I believe that no one is perfect, but I think the first step into becoming more mature and growing is to understand your weakness. So I feel like my weakness is not taking an opportunity and feeling like I don't deserve something when, I just like let myself down because I don't feel like I'm it's like that imposter syndrome when you've achieved all of these things and then all of a sudden you're just like, wait, no, this is not me and I don't deserve it. When in reality, it's your right to be able to get what you deserve. So all the things that you work hard for, that's something that you should be able to earn, you should be proud of it. But I feel like because again, it comes from me being an introvert in like naturally, and also me being really shy from when I was a kid, I feel very hesitant to feel like I deserve something. Like, I think it's the imposter syndrome.
In comparison to Mikayla's struggles and I would say weakness, I feel like we both have that tendency to feel like we're not deserving of something, even though we have achieved a lot of milestones and a lot of progress. But I think mine is quite simple, and I'm very lucky to be surrounded by so many academically smart people in my life, especially knowing that the subject I take is what you would call quite difficult, and the people I take are very able at what they do. And sometimes I always look up to them like, oh, if that person can get 100% in this math test, why can't I? And I feel like that's something that's common throughout my life, and I feel like Mikayla also, because we are both very, I guess, ambitious in our way, and when we are good at a lot of other things, but in terms of academics, it's something that we always want to strive. And sometimes we do have our weak moments when we don't get, the best grades, and I feel like it happens to everyone, but it's something that I feel like we'll always, or I personally feel very sometimes insecure about, especially knowing all the people in my life who gets really great grades. So it is something that, I would say is my weakness.
So I think actually my dream job is to either become a lawyer or at a representative in the UN. I know it's like so ambitious, but right now I'm pursuing a degree in law in hopefully the UK or political science in the US. And I know it's very competitive. It's a very competitive market to become a lawyer. It takes, so much time and effort and basically all your life to become that, and also like a UN representative. It's crazy dreams, but I feel like I really wanted to, make that my dream career or my dream job, because I feel like there's a lot of people who stray away from like their moral rights and everything when it comes to becoming a lawyer. They rather serve their own purpose than the purpose of the people, like they'd rather serve themselves than the people. And I feel like, that's something I like. It's a very difficult like moral obligation to have these kind of like power, and I really want to, make things right. It's so naive, it sounds so like superhero like, but I feel like that's something I genuinely want to become. Like, I want to be part of that and maybe help like impact, like a global impact, something like that.
I think much like Mikayla, ultimately we all want to make a global impact, but I'd like to take it in a more, I guess, scientific level, because I do want to pursue a degree in environmental and earth sciences where I can really focus on that, and more so on the impact of, sustainable development goals and how that implies to the actual world, the physical world. And I did something similar, I guess, when I did an intern in Pertamina, where I learned more about sustainable technologies and green technologies and how it's being implemented in rural areas. And that's something that really strikes to me, because I think we all have a responsibility as, citizens of the world to contribute to the environment, to making it a better planet. So that's what I really would like to dedicate my career and studies in the future.
I think one of the best advice out there into if you really want to get out of your shell and achieve the dreams that you have is to surround yourself with like-minded people. I feel like the reason why we were, able to be more confident while still being introverted is because all our friends had the same goals as us. We were all year 6, maybe 12-year-olds that want to become a better debater, and we were all really bad at debating, but we had the same goal, we had the same passion, we supported each other into becoming better people. So if you really want to achieve a dream and if you really want to get there, I feel like you have to surround yourself with people who will support you. They might not have the same dreams as you, but they have the same mentality. They want to be the best version of themselves. So support yourself with people who you know will support you and will help you get there, and also remind you if you're doing something wrong, if you're doing something, but will also be there to provide, affection as well, to making sure that you're doing something great.
I think the best advice that I got or I take into myself is to really act and make decisions based on how you are gonna feel like that about that decision in the future. Simply put, is if you know you're gonna regret that decision in the future and you regret not taking a decision in the future, you know you need to take it. And really think about your future self until your current self. So no matter what you are, if you're feeling a little lazy, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling sad, just make that decision and really think about how it's gonna impact you in the future. Because in the future, you're gonna thank yourself for making the right choice rather than not taking a choice. So making that decision, knowing that it's gonna impact you in the future, or perhaps you don't want to get out of your shell. If that motivates you by thinking, oh, if I did this, how is my future self gonna think? So really, really think about the future, and every step of your decision and every step that you take really matters.
I think the first few people that I should be thanking is our parents, obviously. I mean, they birthed us, they created us, and they shaped us to who we are today. So it's natural for us to say thank you to our parents. But I think a lot of the people that genuinely made me believe in myself at such a young age, at the age of 10, 11, 12, is my teachers in Phoenix Private School, my old school. So in year 4, I was I didn't speak much in class, but somehow my year 4 teacher, Mr. Ali, like, he saw right through me. He knew I had like these ideas and stuff like that, so he really believed in me. So yeah.
I think it's also worth noticing that a lot of the people that we surround ourselves with are some of our biggest supporters. Like since year 7, we've had this constant best friend. Her name is Marlena, and she's one of the most, I guess, kindest and generous person, and also someone that has the same mentality as us. And now she is studying to become a doctor, and although we have different career paths and different goals in mind, we still support each other. And she's actually not currently living in Qatar, she's living in Dubai. She moved away, and even then we still keep in touch and we still support each other no matter what. So that's someone that we'd really like to thank. So thank you, Marlena.